Yeah, man, wins feel good.
Welcome to Black, Red, and Blue. I'm AJ, and joined as always is Steve. And finally, since, what was it, May 11th, May 13th, 11th, 53 days, finally a win. It feels like rain in the desert. Steve, how do you feel right now?
Man, it was so good watching those scores, and it's so funny watching that Leuven goal where it was just like he's like, okay, he's like, we'll take that, and like, you know, you and I were messaging, of course, you know, in between the match, and like, I commented like, this is probably the first match in several weeks where when the first half was over, you're not like, well, we got out of that half. And it felt like it good. Like the press was strong. Those guys were out there battling. It was nuts.
You know, it's funny you mention that because it did seem like City was much less of a pressing team this year, as in contrast to last year. And they actually look like they did in the first half of last year, as far as the press did. Yeah, man.
You know, call it the new coach bump. I don't care how we got it. You know, Dan circles around his grave. We got to win. And that's what matters. And that's what's important because, you know, we're collecting those points. All those stupid draws are keeping us afloat. And now we actually got to win. And that's great.
Yeah, it's
damn good.
There's going to be fans arguing, I'm sure, saying this was just a San Jose team that wasn't good, et cetera, et cetera. But would you agree with me? This wasn't just a win that we squeaked by, especially in the first half. We honestly were dominating. I texted you and I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. And in some ways, it's almost boring because all we're doing is attacking the whole time. There's no like defense. I'm joking about the boring part. Like, I'm all for this. But this was like an onslaught. This was a very convincing win. What did you think about the lineup, though, and like the formation?
Yeah, we were at dinner whenever I got the alert for the lineup, and I was intrigued. And then when we saw the formation, you and I were talking that you kind of commented, it seems like a 4-3-3. And when it came out, boom, there it was. And, you know, you and I have been banging the drum for a different lineup for weeks now. There's something different had to go. And they did it tonight. And Hack had a different lineup. And that's good to see because the boys are out there playing different. I love to see my man Durkin as a center back. You know, it was the Apple commentators were kind of mentioning how that's not his natural position, but man, I don't care where you put this cat. He is fierce. And it was good to see. And I'm actually glad to see Marcanic riding the pine. Reed is clearly there for keeps, and it's really good to see. And yeah, no, I was excited, you know, to see Sam at least on the roster, because Lutz made a point in the press conference about CB getting fired that he had to be on the field. He had to at least be dressed. And he was at least dressed, and we saw him on the field later in the game. But, like, it was good to at least see him on that little as a sub. What about you?
Yeah. And by the way, if anybody's hearing what sounds like gunfire behind me, I swear it's not gunfire. And I live in a decent neighborhood. It's just the fireworks. We're doing a reaction vid at 10 p.m. Right after this game. We've barely had a chance to look at the stats. Like, we're eye testing this totally. Yeah, I saw the 4-3-3. Actually, Steve and I were texting before the lineup came out, and we were saying, hey, what kind of lineup did we expect? And we were basically playing around with a 4-3-3 anyways.
Yep.
And you know what I liked about this? There was two big things that I liked about the attack was that, one, we were much more direct. We were going up the middle. We weren't afraid. We were taking it right down their throats. And then the second thing is typically what we kind of saw, and I'm exaggerating a bit, is before, like, Klaus would be our striker, and then everybody would be supporting him from the wings and outside the box. Now we're having like multiple people crash the box, especially since we have the striker and then the two wingers up top. It just felt like all the time you heard Thor and Klein were just up there in the box trying to make something happen.
Yeah, and that that midfield was so strong tonight. We had Leuven, Indy, and was that Kojima out there? Bloom. And like those guys were just connecting all night, making amazing passes. And Indy, I mean, he should be the man of the match. Like on FOTMob, he's the man of the match. I know the fans voted, I think, Kojima as the man of the match. But like
I put Leuven.
Yeah. Like Indy earned it. Like just those passes, that ball handling he was doing tonight, especially that first half, was wild. I got the stats pulled up. Can you guess the percentage that we had the ball for that first half? Because it felt like it was like we had it for over half an hour.
First half or the game?
First half, just first half.
Oh man, I know this sounds crazy, but I almost feel it was like 75%, maybe even like 78 something.
It was 70%. And
holy moly,
we had 15 shots in the first half. San Jose had one shot in the first half.
15 shots.
We had 8 shots on target in the first half. 8 shots, 5 shots on target, 8 shots on target. So we had 5 shots on target. And of course, we know 2 of those went in. But like, it's just bananas how efficient we were tonight. It's overall like it feels like vintage city, like we said at the beginning. Like, it feels good to be able to do this now. I love this. It feels great.
Yeah, this was great. So obviously we lost possession some in the second half, and I don't think we were pulling back as much as San Jose, like the announcers have mentioned, went to. Like when they were on defense, they were playing more of a back five, and then they would go to their traditional formation on the attack. But one thing I did like is we didn't seem like we didn't play like a back five kind of prevent. We just kept doing what we normally do. And I think most fans hate when teams get super defensive. Why would we change? And I'm so glad Hackworth was, no, we're going to keep taking it down their throats. And that's pretty much what we did. I'm all for that.
Yeah, and it felt like the press continued in the second half. You can see that San Jose, they didn't have anything creative in the second half. It's how it seemed to me. We were watching fireworks, and so I had my phone out. I was watching, but they still didn't seem like San Jose didn't really play with urgency. And at one point, at the 60 minute, the head coach swapped out 4 players. And
crazy.
That's insane. And he was making a statement like, "You guys ain't doing it. You guys, someone else get in there." But like, man, yeah. I mean, like you said, we've been discussing this entire season that this team has been a team of 2 halves where they can't put it together. Either the first half is dynamic or the second half is dynamic, and by then the game's over. And this didn't feel like this time. It felt like it was a complete game from start to finish.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of bring up somebody, and this is my underrated player for the match, is Klein. And the reason why I'm saying this is he seemed like he was always ready and thinking ahead. He was ready for crosses. He was getting into the box. He was challenging that back line. Honestly, though, unfortunately, because he's so tiny, like he's this tiny little soccer player. He's a little guy, right? But unfortunately, I think the apps that do the ratings, like FOTMob and stuff like this guy is not going to win very many aerial duels, right? Like he just isn't tall enough. He's also smaller. I don't think he's going to be as physical. Like, could you imagine him going up against somebody like a Dinnerin? He would get crushed.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I think these rating systems are going to rate him lower than he should. But I thought he actually looked pretty good here. Like, he did have some mistakes. There are some things he could have done better. Yes. But I loved his positioning. I loved what he was trying to do. I feel like he was a real driver. And the thing is when he's in the right position, that means the defense has to focus on him. They have to pay attention, which means that opens up somebody else. What did you think?
He played 90 minutes tonight. He played the entire match. And that first half, I thought he was pretty good like you. I think he passed the eye test for sure. You know, we've seen him at City too for the past, season and a half essentially. And he seems dynamic against those lower quality type players. And then he came up here and it seemed like there was a bit of a adjustment period for him, but he looked really good tonight. He had a really good shot. He had some ball handling in the first half. So like, yeah, is he our most important, our DP? No, he's not. but is he going to cause us trouble and get us out of scoring situations? I didn't think so tonight. And yeah, you're
And
right with the scoring. He's not going to show up on the score sheet high, but like, yeah, he was a good
yeah,
player. I mean, the fact that he's filling in holes because of all those players that are injured, yeah, he's probably, it's probably we're expecting more of him than we should, and he is delivering right now. I mean, that's all there is to it.
yeah. And this is a little side note and a little tangential, but realistically, we have two players coming in that's probably going to occupy our attacking mid and
Sure.
left winger, right? And likely when Klaus comes back, he's going to be your striker, and Indy's probably going to still probably be in there as one of the wingers as well. The thing is unfortunately that doesn't leave room for Klein, but Klein's going to make a great substitution.
Oh God,
Like
can you
he's
imagine?
going to be a great backup, way better
Yeah,
than what we have now.
he's going to be what we wanted AZL to be, where like
Yeah,
he's that small, fast change of speed, and he doesn't just collapse. Like I I am excited to think about Hartel and Tucker coming in and giving these guys a chance to chill and watch and learn and just actually develop. Like, oh my God, like this could be where we look at this season's turnaround if the team can keep it up.
speaking of turnaround or lack thereof, one thing that absolutely frustrated me this game, absolutely frustrated me, was this little rain shower player of Thor.
Yep.
Like he was Thor without the lightning bolt for sure,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I was getting so frustrated, and I've said this ever since I saw him play on this field. Is I tell you, he gets to the right places. Like he's great at it. He gets up there, but guess what? The ball's right in front of the net. He had a xG of 0.53 and no go. And I get it. Like you can't get it in every time. These are split second decisions, split second movements, but you're getting paid to literally be a forward. At some point, you got to make these in. I think he had what 9, 10 shots.
Yeah,
I'm
at
sure
least
you're gonna.
before
Yeah,
yeah, he probably had a few
yeah.
more in the second half, but yeah.
And he delays firing the ball because you see that all the time. He just delays, and then it's too late. You need somebody who knows what they're going to do and boom, hits the ball in, done. And it's just so frustrating, you know. I
And
don't
he
know.
was one of the players that was subbed off, and he just
Thank goodness.
yeah, and I commented to you, and I think it's a fair assessment that he is kind of taking the place of Klaus from the beginning of the season, where it's like amazing, like you're saying, amazing ball possession. He can get there, he just can't finish. It's like it's almost like in one of the later Thor movies where he's not worthy enough to pick up Mjolnir. Like he's got to get that mojo back, and it's just some of those shots where it just bounced high, or he was a bad pass, or he just killed. It's like he's killing scoring opportunities right now, and we only have a few more weeks before the other guys are able to come in and play. So like, yeah, like he's not a horrible player. Like he had a pretty good score tonight. He had a good overall. He had a decent match, and so like because everyone keeps saying we keep saying he's doing better than blah. Well, yeah, but like we probably could have had at least one more goal tonight. And I am still not a fan of Thor. You and we defended Klaus a lot at the beginning of this season because of what he did last year. And I'm not prepared to do that for another player. And so like until he starts showing us real stuff, we need to be hard on him. We need to say, yeah, he's not great right now. And there's other players around this team that are. And Klaus I just did it. Thor just isn't it. Badass hair, badass headband, but man, he's not worthy of wielding the hammer yet.
Yeah, what do you think about Kojima? Because I know he's been a fan favorite for the past couple months here.
Yeah, he scored, and it wasn't a dink score. It wasn't a cheap score. Like he's everywhere, and I love his speed. I love his ability. I love having him on our team. So like, and he's a rookie. Like that's amazing that he can do this. And I just, yeah, when I saw that score, you can tell he earned it, and he was all over the place. So I was thoroughly very pleased with his performance. And like, where does he go when all these players get healthy? He's also going to be an amazing super sub later in the game, like as a change of pace as well.
So just so we digress for a second, here's how I could possibly see this, right? So I could maybe see him, if we're doing a 4-3-3, I could see him playing on the right wing or the right mid, possibly, depending who's like subbing and stuff like that. I mean, it's a possibility. Man, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's going to be a lot of fun to see. But man, imagine right now, right at the beginning of the season, if we had a winger go down. Actually, we did, right? Celio. Who was the next man up, right? If Klaus goes down, who's the next man up? And for the most part, it was slim pickings. Now, think about this. Somebody goes down, your next man up is Klein and Kojima.
Yep.
I'm feeling so much better with that, right? You even mentioned Marcanic, who's been playing a lot. Now you have like Reed in the mix and stuff like that. Winsel, I think he's going to be a great center back replacement, substitute rather. I feel much better about our subs now than I did earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of subs, what was that?
Menzel only came on the last 5 minutes, and so did Marcanic. So, like, they didn't even have to play tonight. So they're going to have fresh legs for Sunday at Colorado.
Yeah, good point. So speaking of subs, we had Watts, Sam, and Nerwinski come on. What did you think of these subs and how did they perform? And I think the big one, of course, is going to be Big Sam. So feel free to start with whomever.
Yeah, so I think we know who we're going to start with. And
go for it.
Oh, my God. I hope that all the fans that are screaming for Adeniran to get a start and that we're wasting him and he's just all this, that, and the other thing, I hope they can sit down and shut up for a while, because he played 26 minutes and did nothing with that. And in fact, you commented, and I heard it a few minutes after you commented, like, even the commentators were like, why doesn't he pass? Why won't this guy pass? And he's just out there wasting time. Like, and he's struggling. I saw several plays where he's just doing this, and it's just a waste. So, like, I was not impressed at all with Adeniran, which is a shame, because this is his free agency, if you will. This is his free agent. He really should be playing his ass off, because he ain't coming back to this team. We won't need him, and he should be advertising himself. Nerwinski, Carnell, before he got canned, he made a comment that Jake tries hard and Jake really sacrifices a lot for these other guys to be able to play. And like, he was just there. He didn't cause anything. Usually whenever the joke was like, when Nerwinski comes on, you gotta go give up a goal or two, and he didn't, which is fine. And the same with Akil. Like, yeah, I just think at that point we were in kind of mop-up time where just don't give up a goal. And the radio announcers on the way home from Boom Boom Time commented that even in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game, you had Nerwinski and Parker out there not giving up goals, because San Jose actually put a couple shots on. So it seems like the defense's position was just keep this clean sheet for our all-star goalie. And Sam could have done something, but he just chose not to. What about you?
Yeah, man, that's a frustrating thing. And I've said this every single minute Sam has played, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people notice this, because you know what? He does make some goals happen, but he also misses really golden opportunities too. I wouldn't say this was a golden opportunity, but he was clearly out-challenged. The defender had better position than him. And he had Klein. I don't want to say he was open, but he was at least much more open than Sam. But as the announcer said, he had his head down, and the only thing that he could think of is shooting. I said this a long time ago. He's literally like the Jamie Tart of St. Louis City. And it's kind of disappointing, because I'm thinking, man, with his athleticism, with his body, he does play the press well as the striker. if he could only learn how to pass when appropriate,
Yep.
this guy would be on fire. But it seems like there's possibly some attitude problems. I heard that possibly his previous team, there was maybe an issue. And then obviously it looks like Carnell and him had an issue. I don't know. I don't want to blame him. And I don't think we should just automatically assume, because you know what they say about assuming.
Yeah.
I don't think we should, but it does make you wonder. So ultimately, though, at least the performance on field, he's missing that very critical component, and that's keeping his head up and keep staying aware.
Yep.
Unfortunately, as far as Watts and Nerwinski, really San Jose was basically like a toothless snake. So it really didn't challenge anybody. The same thing with Durkin. Durkin probably did great, but he didn't really have much of a challenge. Let's be honest. Right? Same thing with Nerwinski back there.
Even like Berkey even didn't have a super great game stat wise because he didn't have to do much. Like this dude, like he only has like a FOMOM score of 6.9, and it's like you would look at that and think he gave up 4 goals, and he did because he didn't have to do anything. So like Nerwinski and Watts, the same thing. Like there wasn't much to do. That this San Jose team really is abysmal, and that sucks for them. I was mentioned in my family, they didn't believe me. San Jose has a goal differential for this season of -27.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our newer favorite game, which is goal or no goal. So basically, Steve and I ask each other what we see on Twitter or Reddit or Facebook, and then we see what our reactions are. So, Steve, you want to start us off?
Great. So this first one is from on Twitter, STL Soccer News, which is an amazing account. This person compiles all of the content creators for our city and puts them on a list. And that's how we got kind of our exposure at first. So I love this initial comment. I want to get your goal or no goal on this. STL Soccer News says, nice to get 3 points. Still can't finish, and that's on the players, not the coach. Number 16 isn't the answer to this team's offensive woes. He provides nothing other than a deep threat. You can't build an offense around lobbing it long and hoping he runs faster than the defender. Contrast that to Thor, who plays fairly well again and who created chances for himself and others and makes himself part of the offense. So that's a 2-parter. First part, I want to get goal, no goal. Number 16 isn't the answer to this team's offensive woes. He provides nothing other than a deep threat.
So this is just the offensive side of things.
Yep.
I would have to say I agree. I would have to say goal here, just because, and yes, he has scored goals, but there's many minutes where he doesn't. And there's times where today where we maybe had a 3-0 win here.
Yeah.
But he didn't pass it. So I would say that's a goal right in the middle.
Yep. And then the other part, it's our favorite target right now. Contrast that to Thor, who played fairly well again and who created chances for himself and others and makes himself part of the offense.
Man, he or she does make a good point, right? Yeah, because like Thor, right, he can't finish, but he is creating chances. In fact, even though we're putting him up as striker, I would argue he would make a better winger, because a winger is like somebody who's creating more of those chances for your striker and then kind of provide like a secondary striker role. And I could see, at first I was like, oh, why is Thor starting over Sam? But I can kind of see it. Can't you?
Yeah. Yeah, he should be.
I would almost have to say it's a reluctant goal because I haven't been a Thor fan, but there is a point that Soccer News is making here.
Yeah. I like that it's kind of vague where he plays fairly well again. And it's true. I mean, he had a fairly well mob score. Data-wise, it looks like he did great. But it's just that darn finishing. We just can't get it. He can't get it over the line right now. So, all right. Also on Twitter, goal or no goal from Cole Sutton. Josh Sargent gets shown on the Jumbotron here at City Park, drawing a pop from the crowd. Lutz is shown as well. Any chance there's something deeper going on?
No. That's a no goal. Come on. He's from O'Fallon, Missouri. He's coming back home and he's having fun. at a soccer game. Come on, guys. I mean,
Right. Yeah. He's a men's national team, star at a game. They just got bumped out. Of course he's going to be at this match, right?
yeah, he's just having fun. And let's be honest, right? Like if you were a star elsewhere and you came back home, wouldn't you go sit in some pretty booth with
Yes.
upper management of a club? Of course. And you never know. Maybe he's being smart. Maybe he knows at the twilight of his career he might come back home and maybe he does want to play for a hometown team. Jeez, I just fed into those rumors.
You did it.
Oh man. Man.
All right.
I can't believe I did that.
How about one more from Tim Parker's Bucket Hat?
Oh, I love that account.
So Tim Parker's Bucket Hat is responding to a Jeremiah Simmons who says Josh Sargent with Lutz, and Tim Parker's Bucket Hat says, "Hey, we have his discovery rights. Goal or no goal?"
Hey, you know what? I wouldn't mind it. I mean, discovery rights are an absolute no goal. I think the whole idea is kind of a joke. I understand when the MLS was a fledgling league, it was to help protect the smaller teams, the smaller cities from like LA's and stuff like Miami's from getting all the big stars and not getting anything in return. But the whole idea of dibs, that is the dumbest thing. It makes us look honestly like a joke internationally. If we want to be a top 5 league, we need to act like it. We're acting like I don't know, like little league around the corner.
First. Yes, finders keepers kind of kind of crap, which is ridiculous. So, and we had to pay a lot of money to, was it Orlando for Hartle, and which is ridiculous. Like they didn't do anything. Just because they saw this guy doesn't mean we didn't see him too. So you're right. We got to get rid of that.
Yeah, wasn't it Columbus? Because that's where we sent AZ to. Yeah. Doesn't matter. It's still stupid, right? Okay. I got one for you. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So AimGap1828 on Reddit says, Devil Magic is back. That's it. Goal or no goal?
Devil
Magic is back.
I'll go goal because I don't care what kind of magic this is. I don't really care what it takes. Black magic, devil magic, fucking awesome magic, whatever. Let's take it. Goal.
Okay. I think a lot of people are really high off of this win. John Hacksaw, undefeated legend. Goal, no goal.
I'm not going to say that because the guy that we just fired had 5 wins in a row to start a MLS franchise. So until Hackworth somehow gets us double that in a row, then I'm not going to be prepared to put a statue out there for Hackworth. So no goal in that one.
Okay. Guys. So this is one that we kind of talked about, but this is Guy Smiley 314. The divide of fans between Thor and Big Sam indicate that neither are the answer, or at least have major flaws at this point. Klaus, despite his troubles, is still first choice for playing with someone else up top.
It's got to be
goal or no goal.
Like, I would rather have Klaus over Thor, and Sam's not even an option. Sam is a 5-minute sub at this point. Yeah, for sure. I would rather have a hobbled ass Klaus over Thor. So for me, it's a goal. What about you?
I mean, I'm going to agree with this 100% because the thing is with Klaus, he has the potential. Like the flaws that we've, beat this poor dead Sam Horse with, like those flaws have always been there. Yep. Thor, he hasn't shown us anything, at least on the finishing side, as a striker. I'm okay if he wants to play on the wing. I'm okay with that, but not as a striker. Yeah, Klaus, however, we know he has a potential.
Yeah. Dude is creative. Like Thor moves around. He had like we talked about. He had really good ball handling skills, good passing skills. He had decent shots tonight. I think it's clear in the bag. Sam is a one-trick pony. It's just he can shoot. That's all he does, and it's just not going to work at this level. I think he's going to be let him go down to the USL and run around there. But it's just not at this level. And Klaus is going to be our striker. I don't care what people think. Once he comes back, he's going to be it. This is going to be an amazing line we have up front. And then when Steele comes back next year, guys, can you imagine what's waiting around next season once these cats are healthy again? Can you imagine if we had Ostrak, Celio, Tucker, Hartle, and Reuven and Klaus? Like, that is an amazing team. It's just not happening because of injuries. But and then on that back line once it's all solid again, once this Copa is over, and then we get our defenders back, it's just going to be wild. Man. We can actually have something to look forward to.
I know, finally.
Yes.
So, speaking of looking forward, obviously we have the game coming up. So, our next game that we have been playing pretty much since we started the podcast was Coach for a Day. So, if you were the coach and Hackworth got fired for a day, and you were taking the team into a unspecified opponent on Saturday, what would you be doing or not doing?
After what I saw tonight, after what we've been begging for, I'm running that 4-3-3. I am, just with what we have, and I want Colorado to have to come after us. They scored. They put 3 on us last time. I want to challenge them to do that again. And different team, different attitude right now. I think hopefully we've got this chip back on our shoulder. We got the monkey off, and now we can put a chip back on there. And going to go into Colorado. And I don't know. After tonight, I had a much different feel, and I think it's going to continue. I don't think we're going to roll out there with false players in positions. I think it's going to be strong. So I personally would run that 4-3-3. I want this team playing hard. I want this team playing mean. I want this team playing like they're actually now fighting for a playoff spot, which they should be. What about you? What are you going to do, Coach?
Yeah, as far as formations, either the 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, I think would work. I mean, if you really think about it, there's some subtle differences between the two. I do kind of like the 4-3-3. Now, we did get burned, I believe it was last year when we ran it. I think it was for 2 games, if I recall, and it just fell flat. But after seeing this, I feel pretty good about that. And especially with how we did the press, I think it's going to be great. Honestly, the one thing I would like to kind of see, and this kind of depends on what's going behind the scenes, is I would like to see Sam actually start a game. I know everything that we said this is kind of going against a lot of that, but
okay,
you have to wonder, was there an issue with Sam and Carnell and somehow being held back or something? I kind of want to see what he's capable of. If you think there's any chance of him sticking around or like re-signing him, something like that, then I kind of want to see what he's truly capable of in gameplay, especially now that we've had this major change. Mm-hmm. Now, if we know he's going to leave, then the question is do we need to showcase him? So then you have the balance between, well, what's the best lineup versus showcasing him. It just really depends on how they feel about the season. Honestly, you know what might be a good time to showcase him is in the League's Cup when it really doesn't matter.
Right.
Put him out there with the other guys. And, as Soccer News probably said, is that Thor's probably the better choice if you had to put somebody as striker. Okay, maybe Sam might be best as the striker for League's Cup when it really doesn't matter. And a lot of people don't care about the League's Cup, honestly.
I like that idea. But you know what? You want to be a starter? You've got 2 games right now. 2 guaranteed games to be the starter. They're both at home. Go out there and show us what you got. You know what? I like that idea. You want them to start? Go ahead. Well, that's
why I'm coach for a day.
However, I do think that'll be a way to showcase him. And if he goes out there and he puts it on Dallas and then Suarez, then maybe we have to consider starting him for the last, at least find a match at the end of the season for him to start. He can justify it. I like that. These games are happening. There's 2 guaranteed games happening. Let's go ahead and put it out there. I like that. I don't want to start him against Colorado. We're trying to get some rhythm going on here, and Bumblebutt out there is not going to get it done.
Yeah. Well, Steve, before we head out tonight, any lasting thoughts other than just pure excitement and adrenaline from that game?
Yeah, it felt good to hear the fans chant STL at the end of a match instead of going, bleh. I've been there for wins, and it's an amazing experience. You've been there for wins. It just feels so good. And I've been there for 2 losses this year, and it's just draining when you leave. And it's just that the City Park West is just an amazing place to be, an amazing experience to be there. And it's good to have the team excited again. You know, even if we don't make the playoffs, we get some wins at home. We just have a good showing. That's what matters. And it was good to have some fireworks before actual fireworks happened tonight. So we've got our socials. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter as BRB Fancast. Do not forget, we have a new website. It's brbfancast.weebly.com. And you'll find our profiles there. You'll find our show collections there. You'll find the things that we post there. I'll be posting the fridge table. We actually move our little magnet up one spot right now. And if we win on Saturday or Sunday, we don't move. But if we lose, Dallas can put us right back into 12th. We don't want that. We want to keep that little stupid bull down a little bit. So go City, all for City. This is exciting to be a City fan again. And it's great. It's great. We'll leave it there.
Okay. Well, all for City. Hit us.
All for City, baby.